Ex-wife expresses her true feelings after the grass wasn't greener. Hello, True Story. My name is Richard. I just stumbled across your channel recently and I've been hooked ever since. And let me just say, I respect the way you give men a platform to share their real experiences. Most of us go through life carrying these wounds quietly, and society often tells us to man up and stay silent. When I heard some of the stories you read, it felt like you were describing my life in pieces. I figured it was time I sat down and wrote out my own, because it's been sitting on my chest for years. Maybe someone else can learn from my mistakes, or at the very least, maybe it'll just feel good to finally let it out. So, here's my story. My ex-wife. I met my ex-wife, let's call her Samantha, in one of the most unexpected ways. I wasn't even supposed to be at that Indiana Pacers game. My buddy had called me up with an extra ticket last minute, and honestly, I was debating skipping. I'd had a long week at work, and I wasn't really in the mood to be out in a loud arena with overpriced beer and screaming fans. But something in me said, you know what? Just go. Man, if I had skipped, my life would have taken a completely different turn. It's crazy to think how one small decision, one yes instead of no, can set the course of your life for years. We were in the nosebleed section, way up high. At halftime, I went down to grab a drink and some nachos. While I was waiting in line, I turned around, and there she was. She wasn't dressed like she was trying to stand out, just jeans, a Pacers hoodie, and her hair tied back. But to me, she lit up the whole concourse. She had this big smile and a laugh that cut right through the chaos around us. I don't know if you believe in love at first sight, but in that moment, I thought I had just spotted a unicorn in a crowd of horses. We started talking because she made some joke about me being indecisive over whether I wanted cheese sauce or not. I remember laughing, handing her the nachos when the guy behind the counter messed up and gave me 2 orders, and we ended up eating together on the side. That random encounter turned into us exchanging numbers, and before I knew it, we were texting daily, then meeting up for dinners, movies, and long drives around Indianapolis just to talk. I thought she was different, special. She seemed sweet, humble, and fun. Someone I could actually build something real with. Dating years. We dated for 2 years before getting married. During those years, I really thought I had found the one. We did all the normal couple things. Weekend trips, family gatherings, holiday dinners. My mom loved her. My friends thought she was good for me. And honestly, I thought I hit the jackpot. There were a few little signs here and there, but I brushed them off. She liked nice things. She always lit up when we went shopping. She would casually mention how so-and-so's boyfriend just bought them something expensive. She wasn't demanding about it, but I did notice she compared sometimes. I chalked it up to normal female behavior, nothing out of the ordinary. Looking back, I realized she had a hunger for material things that I couldn't fully satisfy. Still, we made it to marriage. I proposed after 2 years, thinking we were solid. She cried, said yes, hugged me like I was her whole world. For a while, I was the happiest man alive. The short marriage. Our marriage lasted barely a year. That's it. A single year. After all the planning, all the money, all the vows in front of God and family, she was gone in 12 months. The downfall came fast. She started acting distant. I could feel her pulling away, but when I asked, she always said she was just tired, stressed from work, or not feeling well. We barely fought, but I could tell something was off. The intimacy slowed down too. That's when I really started getting suspicious. And then came the night that changed everything. The confession. We were about to be intimate one night, and right before things escalated, she broke down crying. She literally pushed me away, sat on the bed, and told me she couldn't keep lying to me. My heart dropped. She confessed that she had been talking to another man. She swore up and down that it wasn't physical, but she admitted it was an emotional connection. She said she met him through some friends, that he was wealthy, and he made her feel secure. She told me he had promised her the world, lavish vacations, a big house, the lifestyle she always dreamed of. I can't even explain the pain of hearing the woman you just vowed to spend your life with talk about another man like that. I remember sitting there, staring at the wall, trying to process it. She wasn't confessing because she felt guilty enough to stop. She was confessing because she was ready to leave. I didn't yell. I didn't fight. I just asked her one question. Do you want to be with him instead of me? She looked at me, tears streaming down her face, and nodded. That was all I needed. The divorce. I gave her the divorce she wanted. I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't going to chase her. I wasn't going to compete with some guy flashing money around. My dignity mattered more. The process was quick. No kids, not much shared property, so it was clean. She packed up, moved out, and I was left with an empty apartment and a broken heart. For months, I beat myself up. I asked myself what I did wrong, why I wasn't enough, why she would throw everything away for promises. I thought I failed as a husband, but then I learned the truth about her new man, the rich boyfriend. At first, she flaunted him on social media. Vacations, dinners, designer clothes. It looked like she was living her dream. Meanwhile, I was grinding at my job, eating ramen some nights, trying to heal. It hurt like hell watching her upgrade, her life while I was left in the dust. But here's the kicker. The guy did have money. It just wasn't legal. He was knee-deep in fraud schemes. Fast forward about a year and a half after she left me, and boom, he gets sentenced to 3 years in federal prison. All those promises of security, wealth, and comfort came crashing down overnight when she crawled back, and that's when she came crawling back. One night, out of the blue, I got a message from her. At first, I ignored it, but she kept reaching out. Finally, curiosity got the better of me, and I answered. She said she wanted to meet and talk. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met at a coffee shop. She looked nothing like the glowing woman from social media. She looked tired, drained, and honestly, broken. She started crying the moment she saw me. She told me everything. She admitted that she thought leaving me for him was the smart choice. She admitted that she was blinded by the money, the gifts, the lifestyle, but when it all came crashing down, she realized what she had lost. She said she missed the way I loved her, the way I cared for her without conditions, the way I was steady and real. She told me, word for word, money is just paper. I thought it would make me happy, but it's meaningless without real love. I don't think I'll ever find someone who loved me like you did. Hearing that was bittersweet. On one hand, it validated everything I already knew. I was a good husband. I did love her right. She just couldn't see it at the time. On the other hand, it was too little, too late. Her true feelings. She confessed that she never stopped caring for me, but she admitted that she didn't know how to truly love me back because she was always chasing more. She thought she could have love and money all rolled into one perfect package, but life doesn't work like that. She learned the hard way that chasing material things leaves you empty. I listened, but I didn't take her back. I couldn't. The trust was shattered. The respect was gone. I told her I hoped she healed, but I had moved on. Reflections. Now, looking back, I don't regret giving her the divorce. I don't regret walking away when I did. The pain was brutal at first, but it shaped me. I learned self-respect. I learned that sometimes the greatest act of love for yourself is letting go of someone who doesn't see your value. She thought the grass was greener. She thought money would solve all her problems. But when the grass withered, she realized she had abandoned the garden we could have built together. And me? I may not be rich. I may not have flashy things, but I've got peace, and that's worth more than anything money can buy. True story. I wanted to send this in, not because I need sympathy, but because I know there are men out there going through the exact same thing. Maybe they're watching their wife or girlfriend get tempted by someone dangling shiny objects in front of them. Maybe they're questioning themselves, thinking they're not good enough. To those men, I say, don't lose yourself trying to compete. Let them go if they want to go. Time will reveal who they really are. My ex-wife expressed her true feelings only after life humbled her, and by then, it was far too late. Thanks for reading this, and thank you for giving us men a voice. Why I'll Never Marry Again. Marriage is a scam. Hello, True Story. This is Richard again. You recently read the email I sent in about my ex-wife, the one who thought the grass was greener with a so-called wealthy man. I appreciate you giving my story a platform, and since then, I've been reflecting on everything even more. Writing that email was therapeutic, but it also cracked open some wounds I didn't realize were still tender. I've been sitting with myself these past few weeks, thinking about how everything unfolded, and I've come to a conclusion that may sound harsh to some people. I'll never marry again. Period. Not because I'm bitter, though maybe I am a little, but because I've lost all trust in relationships as a whole. When I look back at what happened to me, what I've seen happen to other men, and how society is set up, I can't escape the belief that marriage today is a scam. Let me explain why I'll never marry again. When I first met my ex-wife at that Pacers game, I believed in love. I believed in the fairy tale that if you treated a woman right, gave her your loyalty, stayed faithful, provided what you could, and committed fully, she would stand by you through anything. I thought love was enough. But what I learned the hard way is that love isn't enough for a lot of women today. Love gets put on the back burner when money, status, or lifestyle enters the picture. I watched the woman I vowed to share my life with walk out on me because another man dangled wealth in front of her. That does something to your spirit, man. When you give someone your heart, your time, your loyalty, only for them to trade it in like a used car for the next upgrade, you realize how fragile it all is. For me, the idea of marriage has been shattered. I don't see it as a partnership anymore. I see it as a contract that benefits one party while putting the other at constant risk. And 9 times out of 10, that risk falls on the man. The loss of trust. I don't trust relationships anymore because I know how quickly they can be thrown away. My ex-wife and I didn't have major fights. I wasn't abusive. I wasn't neglectful. By all accounts, we had a stable relationship. Yet all it took was one man with deep pockets and big promises to undo everything. If love can be that easily replaced, was it even love to begin with? That's the question that haunts me. I've dated casually since the divorce, and I'll be honest with you, it only reinforces my distrust. Women say they want good men who are kind, loyal, and hardworking. But when push comes to shove, they gravitate toward men with money, power, or clout. It doesn't matter if that man is toxic, unfaithful, or dishonest. They'll justify it because of what he can provide. I've watched it happen too many times, not just with me, but with friends, coworkers, and even family. Relationships today feel like business transactions disguised as romance. Why marriage is a scam. The word scam might sound extreme, but when you break it down, that's exactly what marriage is. Marriage is not about love. It's about contracts, money, and control. You don't just marry someone, you marry the government, the legal system, and all the risks that come with it. Think about it. Divorce laws are stacked against men. If things go south, the man is usually on the hook for alimony, child support, even for kids that might not be his in some cases, and losing assets he worked hard for. Women initiate the majority of divorces. Statistics back it up. Something like 70% of divorces are filed by women. That means men are entering a game where the other player has the advantage and most often chooses when to pull the plug. Marriage doesn't guarantee loyalty. The vows don't mean much when temptation comes knocking. The legal contract doesn't protect you from betrayal, it just dictates how badly you'll get punished once you're betrayed. So tell me, where's the benefit for men? We're told marriage is the ultimate goal, the crown jewel of adulthood, the respectable path. But from where I'm sitting, it looks more like a trap. You sign your rights away in exchange for an illusion of security. The scam I lived. Let me bring it back to my story for a minute. I married my ex-wife thinking it was forever. I signed those papers believing we were building something sacred. But when she decided she wanted out, all that mattered was her feelings at that moment. It didn't matter that I had been faithful. It didn't matter that I had been there for her emotionally and financially. It didn't matter that we made vows in front of God, family, and friends. The only thing that mattered was that she thought she could do better. And here's the kicker. When she realized she couldn't do better, when the man she left me for ended up in prison, she wanted to come back. Marriage, in her mind, wasn't about love. It was about comfort and security. I was the safety net she thought she could always return to. That's the scam. Men are told marriage is about love and family, but for too many women, it's about resources, options, and backup plans. The culture around marriage. I also think culture plays a huge role in why marriage is broken today. We live in a society that constantly tells women they deserve more and never settle. Social media has turned relationships into highlight reels where everyone looks perfect, rich, and glamorous. When you're scrolling through Instagram and seeing other women being flown out to Dubai, driving luxury cars, and dripping in designer clothes, it's hard to appreciate the man next to you who's just working a regular 9 to 5 and bringing home an honest paycheck. My ex-wife fell for that illusion. She thought wealth equaled happiness. She thought material things equaled love, and when the illusion shattered, so did her sense of reality. My views now. So where does that leave me? I'll never marry again. Not because I don't want companionship, but because I refuse to put myself in that kind of vulnerable position again. I'll date casually, sure. I'll enjoy a woman's company, but I'll never legally bind myself to someone again. I've lost trust not just in women, but in the entire system. Marriage doesn't protect love. It destroys it. It turns something that should be about connection into a legal arrangement full of loopholes and landmines. Love, if it exists, doesn't need a piece of paper to validate it. And if a woman needs that paper to feel secure, then she's not in it for love. She's in it for the benefits. Stories from others. I'm not alone in this. Since my divorce, I've talked to other men who've gone through the same thing. One buddy of mine was married for 12 years, had 2 kids, and his wife left him for her coworker. She took the kids, half the house, and still hits him for child support every month, even though she makes more money than him now. He's practically starting over in his 40s. Another guy I know never married but lived with his girlfriend for 5 years. When they broke up, she tried to claim common law marriage to get half his stuff. Thankfully, he got a good lawyer and avoided it, but it cost him thousands just to defend himself. When I look at stories like these, plus my own, how could I possibly trust marriage again? It feels like walking into a casino where the house always wins. The emotional toll. Beyond money and contracts, the emotional toll of marriage and divorce is brutal. When I signed those papers, I wasn't just giving her my name. I was giving her my heart, my trust, my future. When she betrayed that, it wasn't just the marriage that ended. A part of me died too. Even now, when I think about getting close to someone, my guard goes up. I can't help but wonder, what's her angle? What's she really here for? How long until she finds someone with more and leaves? That's no way to build a relationship, and I'm not willing to gamble with my peace like that ever again. Marriage versus reality. Marriage is sold to us as a partnership, but in reality, It's often a power imbalance. Men put their necks on the line and women hold the eject button. When my ex-wife left, there were no consequences for her. She walked away, moved in with her new man, and flaunted her upgrade. Meanwhile, I was left to pick up the pieces. That's the reality men face. Conclusion. So yeah, I'll never marry again. I see through the illusion now. I see marriage for what it really is. A scam dressed up as romance. A legal contract that benefits one party at the expense of the other. Maybe that sounds cynical, but it's the truth I've lived. And until the system changes, until women as a whole start valuing real love over material things, I don't see how marriage can ever work in this society. I'll keep my peace, I'll keep my freedom, and I'll never hand over my life to the system again. Thanks again for giving men like me a voice. Writing this out has helped me more than you know.